Oh, hello. You you snuck up on me. I didn't notice you there. That's I'm glad you're here though, because I was been thinking about this thing for a whole 2 days now. And that's what I'm gonna call stupid people. And I've come to kind of 2.5 reasons why people don't learn to their full potential, why they don't quite understand things as easily as some other people do. You know, all these sorts of things. Now, first of all, is the obvious one. The biggest excuse for people not understanding things, which is semi-valid. It's basically sort of how your mind is sort of constructed. So some people are just better at some things than other things. You know, like, my mind is very good at mechanical sort of things, like physical, kinetic, understanding those sort of things. And the reason why is that throughout my upbringing, my father and my grandfather, two people that I have really looked up to for all my life, have always been tinkerers. So I'd always watch them pulling things apart and putting them back together and building stuff and figuring out how stuff works and all that sort of thing. So obviously that's all rubbed off on me, right? In addition to that, if we go deeper into that, it wants me to turn right. Well, you want to turn left, so that works out nicely. If we go deeper onto that, what it actually was I would be watching my family, my father or my grandfather, doing something. So say something was broken. The first thing that they would do, like, how do I put this? The first thought is obviously, it doesn't work, it's broken. So, you know, that needs not saying, you know what I mean? Like, obviously something doesn't work and you go, it's broken, it doesn't work. So we'll move right along. The first real thought that set these men apart from not everyone, but a lot of other people that I know, is they would say, the first thought they would look at is, why is it broken? How is it broken? What part failed? Right? And they would look at it and they would try to find it. And they would find it, they would look for it just out of curiosity. Like, I wonder what happened, you know? What's going on? Instead of just going, it's broken, right? Which is, or going, it's broken, I don't know how to fix it, right? Without even going, like, a lot of people don't even have the thought to go, well, it's broken, I may as well see why it's broken. I mean, I can't break it anymore, it's fucked, you know what I mean? Like, who cares? I'll just pull it apart or whatever and see what makes it tick, or whatever may be the case, right? Now, so that's one thing. And then the next thing is, obviously they would look at the damaged thing and go, okay, with the resources I have, that is to say, with the knowledge that I have, and with the materials that I have, and with the tools that I have, all the tools that I can afford, how do I repair it? Now that I know how it's broken and why it broke and all of that sort of stuff, because I took the time to look into it, what is the next? Like, how do I fix it? Right? So that's something that's instilled into my mind. That's sort of it's subconscious now. It's not a conscious thought anymore. It's something that happens automatically without me even realizing it. And so it's good, and it's actually good and bad. There are some bad things to that, but anyway, I won't go into them right now. So that's environmental. Now, earlier on, I said something to the effect of that's half correct reason, because that your mind is in a particular way of thinking and all that sort of stuff. The reason why it's half accurate, half true, or whatever you want to say, I can't remember the word that I used to start with. I wish I did. I actually went to my head and said, don't forget that word. You're going to use it later into this video, but I didn't. So that's half in your control, because the reality is that when you say something like the environment made me the way I am, that is because you learnt from your environment. So you could surround yourself with people that do the thing that you're down for. You could read books, you could watch videos. The starting point is actually to care about it, and care about it enough to actually want to learn about it. You don't, now, contrary to social norms, social conditioning, normal ways of thinking, I don't know, you don't have to be passionate about everything. You don't have to be interested in everything. But it pays to be aware that you're not interested in some things. Not everyone's interested in tinkering with stuff. Not everyone's interested in speakers. Not everyone's interested in cooking. They've got their own interests, right? But you have to be, it pays to be aware that you're not interested in those things, so that you don't make excuses like, I just don't get it. I'll just never understand because my brain just doesn't work that way. It can work like that, and because all these things are learned behaviors. Yes, it's harder to learn things when you're older than when you're a young whippersnapper, but at the end of the day, you do have the potential to learn new things throughout your entire life, believe it or not, right? So there's that. If you want it bad enough, you'll do it. If you don't want it that bad, then you won't do it. Maybe if you really want to do something, but you deep down you don't want to do it because, which is evident by your behavior, because as I mentioned in other videos, your subconscious, the way you can tap into seeing what your subconscious believes and what your consciousness believes, to see the difference is by watching your behaviors versus the things that you say is from your conscious mind, and the things that you do, the patterns of your behavior, especially the patterns that you don't realize that you do, those are your subconscious programs, processes taking control of you. And that's the easiest evidence you have to see what you really believe in deep down, is by watching your behaviors. And maybe you need to change your subconscious behaviors so that you can then care about the thing enough to actually do it, right? So, but that's a topic for a whole nother video. I think I might have covered a lot of it as well in other videos. But anyway, so that's the one thing that's semi out of your control. Really, it is in your control completely. It's just the other thing is that sometimes it's if you have absolutely no foundation on a topic, none whatsoever, not even the most basics, then it's going to be a struggle for you to learn, right? That goes without saying. It doesn't make you stupid. It's just that you don't have the foundations, right? That makes sense. It's not your your brain is broken or something, you don't have the foundations. Maybe because you don't care about learning the foundations, you only care about learning the most advanced stuff, which is very, very common. A lot of people don't want to learn the simple steps that explain why all the complicated stuff works. They only want to know the complicated stuff, and they find it impossible because they don't have the patience, the love, the passion to understand even the simple stuff, right? So that's something else to keep in mind. It doesn't make you stupid, it just means that you don't have the foundations. You can't build a house on sand. You've got to build some sort of foundation to build upon on it, right? And your mind is sand. It can be shaped into anything you want, but if you try to build something too big on top of it, it just won't work. All right? The next thing, and this is probably the most frustrating reason why people are stupid. Second most, it's on par with the third half reason after this one. So people don't listen. I get clients all the time that ask me all these questions about possums. They'll ask me a question and I'll start explaining, and then just as I'm getting to the equivalent of the punchline, the actual point of it, the part that brings it all together, just as those words are about to come out of my mouth, they ask me another question. So what does that indicate? It indicates that they didn't actually care. They just like saying words. They like asking questions. And then what will happen is someone will say, oh, why does this happen with possums? Oh, the guy started telling me, but I didn't understand. It's not that you didn't understand, it's that you didn't ask, you didn't sit to listen. You asked a question, but you didn't actually have the mental capacity, the patience to stop your mouth and stop your thoughts from making these new words so important. And you just blurted out another thing, so I never got to tell you the answer. You stopped me just before. Sometimes it's really frustrating, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Just keep in mind that don't ask questions to people if you don't want to hear the answer. If that's not what's in your heart, if learning new things and learning the answer and learning why things are the way they are, or at least learning the other person's perspective of why things are the way they are, if you don't care about that, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't ask the question. Don't waste people's time. Okay? And it comes back to what I was saying before, and I sort of mentioned it in the first point, is you need awareness. You need a certain level of awareness of yourself, of things in general. Enough of an awareness to say, I actually don't want to know the answer to that. You need to raise your level of consciousness, raise your level of awareness to the point where you are conscious enough, you are sober enough, you are clear enough to realize what doesn't matter to you. It's so simple, right? Okay. And then there's the half reason afterwards. It comes down to brainwashing. Now, yes, I made a video about that too, social media, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it's also just self-talk. See, one way to influence your subconscious is your self-talk. I once had a friend, a beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous woman friend, lady friend. And she was telling me about years ago, she would, she'd felt very low in herself. She started, she found herself really unattractive. Gorgeous her whole life. Absolutely gorgeous. Yet, felt unattractive. She lived in a remote sort of country town. So it's not like she had other people around her to to give her that external validation, she only had herself and her mum, right? And she's like, of course my mum's going to say I'm beautiful. Like, even if I was ugly, my mum would say that, you know? So her opinion on that particular topic doesn't have a lot of weight. So she's an action taker. She doesn't like feeling this way. Look, this is a whole topic for another thing. But if you don't if you don't like something, there are things you can do, and that's what she saw. She saw there's something she can do. She started looking it up, just like half-heartedly on Google. What can I do to make myself feel beautiful from an internal place, not just makeup or nice hair or whatever, because she already looked great every day anyway. But so, and she found this thing called affirmations. Affirmations are a form of self-brainwashing. They are a brilliant tool, excellent tool that anyone can use. And what an affirmation is simply repeating to yourself something on a regular basis. So what she would do is every morning she'd look in the mirror and she'd say, "You are beautiful. You are so beautiful. You are gorgeous. Look at you. Your hair looks fantastic today. Look at you getting out, being all gorgeous and shit." You know, every morning she would talk to herself like this. And naturally, for the first week or two, she felt pretty stupid. She said she felt so stupid, like obviously she would feel stupid, like looking in the mirror and going, "You're beautiful," because she didn't feel it, she didn't believe it, but she did it, and she did it, and she did it, and she did it. And in time, not only did she believe it, but her whole body language changed. And because her body language is a type of behavior is subconscious, like the automatic behavior that you don't realize you're doing, that's subconscious, same as your heart beating and your blah blah blah, right? So her body language would change, and suddenly, because she started to believe it from the back of her mind as well as the front of her mind, I'm going to turn this way. Her body language changed, and so all of these people started coming up to her and telling her that she's beautiful, right? So isn't that interesting? Affirmations can change the way other people perceive you, because it changes your subconscious in a way that changes your body language in a way that gives off messages in such a way that to other people, that they then respond in such a way as to tell them that the person that they're beautiful, or whatever. It could be anything, that you're confident, that you're funny, that you're this, that you're that, right? It could be anything. So the same thing happens with stupid, right? Exactly the same thing happens with stupid. Now, the other day I met this beautiful, and I made this beautiful, beautiful friend. Absolutely stunning, gorgeous woman. And she says she's not very clever. Constantly. And what can happen is, as well as your body language and all that sort of stuff, she's going to do behaviors subconsciously, without realizing, that reinforce that belief. Because everyone wants to reinforce who they think they truly are deep down. They don't do things that are the opposite of what they believe. They don't do behaviors that are incongruent, that aren't in alignment with who they think they are and who they believe they are, and blah 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 blah, right? So that's bog standard psychology 101. So not only is it with body language, but also with, for example, the first two options. She's going to feel inadequate in front of clever people, and so she'd try not to hang out with clever people. Maybe I'm speculating now, because this is behavior that I've seen in a lot of different people, not just this beautiful woman. She may not try to hang around clever people because she doesn't understand them, and therefore she'll avoid them or whatever. So she's not going to pick up their ways of thinking, their intelligence, all these sort of things aren't going to rub off on her because she's not hanging out with them, right? She's also not going to... God damn, what was the second point? Help me, yell it out to me. She's also not going to listen. She's not going to listen hard at people. She's going to, what she's going to subconsciously do is, as people start talking about something that's a bit complicated, she'll start going, oh wow, this is too much. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm not going to, oh well, I'll just let them finish talking. Like subconsciously, may not be her conscious thoughts. This is things that are happening at the back of her mind, not the front of her mind. And she's going to be like, they're talking about something I don't understand. I'm so dumb because I don't understand it. And then she'll just start thinking about how dumb she is because she doesn't get it, and how clever they are. And she'll have all these thought loops and all this sort of stuff, instead of just listening and trying to understand, trying her best, and asking questions, because she doesn't want to ask questions because then she'll feel stupid, or she'll feel like she's wasting their time with her stupid question, right? So, she's very, very clever. I can see it. You know when you can see that someone is very clever, but they just haven't found their thing yet? That's her. I can see it in her eyes. I can see it in her. She covers it up. She literally covers herself up too, like when I start saying things, certain things around her. Covering her face with her hair and all these sort of things, which is might be a whole nother thing, but yeah, it's an interesting thing. So, but, again, it comes back to awareness. If you can be aware of your self-talk, you can use, instead of telling yourself affirmations that are negative, that are going to hurt you, you could tell yourself affirmations that are positive. You can catch yourself. You can have the awareness to be able to see yourself saying some dumb shit about yourself and be like, don't pick on my friend, and and then reinforce your friend, who is yourself. Tell yourself, no, that's not true. Maybe I don't understand it right now, but if I cared enough about it, if I wanted to know, and I listened hard enough, and part of, I don't know, if I made a video on listening, can you let me know? I can't quite remember if I made a video or specifically about listening. Maybe I'll do that next. Because there are ways of listening to people so that you actually understand them, so you actually receive the information. Okay? Yeah. Anyway, that's my take on dumb people, for lack of a better word. Don't get caught up on the language. It's just the words I chose to use. As long as you understand what I mean by that, and know that I am sure that you guys have the intelligence to understand that I mean that word with love, because I feel stupid too sometimes. I feel dumb. I feel this. I feel that. I feel happy. I feel sad. I feel everything that everyone else does. Okay? But yeah, just understand me. listen. Actually listen. Yeah, so comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know, please. Alright. I am nearly at this job. I've just parked around the corner. Where am I even meant to be? Number 5. Okay. Alright, well, enjoy the rest of your days. And I will see you on my next video. Bye.